Welcome to a big Hearthstone report. We have a bunch of news to bring to you. Battlegrounds, solo content, and some updates for cards in Constructed. We are not alone today. We're joined by one of our members, long-term members of our community at Discord, and one of the best Hearthstone players on the European server, Sparrowhawk1. Sparrowhawk, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Absolutely, we're glad to have you here. You are also a streamer, so you stream Hearthstone occasionally, you stream Battlegrounds. Do you want to just quickly name your stream so people can go check it out?
Yeah, I'm Sparrowhawk73 on Twitch, and hopefully I'll be streaming more and releasing some content. Just starting out with the streaming, and hope it goes well, and hope to see you on my stream.
Absolutely. We'll link that in the description of this video also, and you can find Sparrowhawk in our Discord server as well as us, which is also linked in the description, and you can join that for free. We have a bunch of updates, and you're going to help us discuss that a little bit, and let's start off with this picture here. So, JJ, what do we have?
This is kind of a brief overview. On the left side, you've got all of the actual interesting stuff that we're going to talk about more in depth later. On the right side, you've got all the stuff you can buy.
With money.
Great. There is a Mega Wild Bundle, which has 8 packs per wild expansion, sans the adventures.
Yes.
It doesn't list a price here.
And some
I think there might have been a price in the article. I honestly don't care. In the second week, you can purchase the new Jaina portrait, which they made for the solo content, but are also going to sell to you.
Arcane Jaina now.
As well as 5 mage packs. And then, for the third week, there is the Magic of Dalaran card pack, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was one of the monthly ones, wasn't it?
I don't know the monthly card packs. I haven't paid attention to it.
Because I think that's what I have.
It's got to be one of the earlier ones.
I guess. I might have not played then. But they've done that before. They've done just the Cupcake one, which you could also buy for gold.
Yeah, I already had that one.
That was a collectible one. People complain about it, but I don't.
I was a bit disappointed because, like, the first one that they ever sold was one that that I did not have.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not going to spend 500 gold on a card pack, but also, like, I have most card packs from the seasonal ones, except for, like, some very early on ones. So I was like, I kind of want a more complete collection, but also I definitely don't want to pay for it.
True. So let's get an important part here on the left side. I'll put that.
I've got the month. It was the June 2017.
Wow. That's actually like 2 or 3 months before I started playing Hearthstone, I believe. So
there's a decent chance I have it. Yeah. Though I think that's around the time when I have most but not all card packs, because sometimes I just wouldn't play for a month or two.
Alright, what do we got?
Here is the big one. So first of all, the patch is going to come out September 8th. And then, of course, the weekly events are starting September 8th, 15th, and 22nd. One thing I think is going to be interesting for a lot of people is the new Battlegrounds party feature, where you can actually finally play Battlegrounds with more than just one friend.
So this is a good one. This is a friendly challenge for all Battlegrounds. What do you think about that one, Sparrow?
This is a great opportunity. Like, think about all the tournaments that have been going on, and none of them can be Battlegrounds because you can only play with one person at a time. You used to be able to only do... I think you had to apply to Blizzard to have a private lobby. That's what I heard from a streamer once. And so that's why you've not seen these tournaments apart from the official Blizzard ones. So this is great that they've added this. Just add a few friends and make a lobby.
We were actually thinking about it. We've gotten some requests. Maybe we'll look into hosting one. Do you have any idea how the spectation works, by the way, in Battlegrounds?
Oh man. I guess you could spectate multiple people, but that doesn't make sense because there's more than one game going on at once.
Yeah, do you have split screen? Do you have to pick one for each round? That's something we'll have to figure out.
If we do it, we'll figure it out.
If we consider making one. It's definitely a good thing to see.
You can queue into random Battlegrounds games now with up to 4 players, or you can make a private lobby with up to 8 players.
Yeah,
the entire game is private. So that is, if you have 5 or 6 players, then you will not be able to fill up your game with random players, but you will have to just play with how many players you have. Yeah. Which could be a bit weird, but overall pretty good.
Yeah, I like the change.
And then, of course, we got actual content for Battlegrounds. First of all, we have the Lord Barov hero, whose hero power is Friendly Wager for 1 gold. Guess which player will win their next combat. If they win, get 3 coins. And I had a source tell me that you cannot wager on your own games.
I would be surprised if you could. Yeah, that would lead to easy fraud. This seems a bit off the wall. Very different from other hero powers we've had so far. How do you like this one?
The only exception to that rule is if you're the last two players, of course.
Exactly.
But this seems like quite a good hero. A good comparison, I think, is to Skycap and Crag, where once per game you can gain some gold and it builds up over time. Except it's like you can do it once a turn, and you're paying 1 to get either 3 coins or 0 coins. So you can save those coins for future turns, and obviously with coins you can use that to reroll or to buy more minions, and that could be pretty nice in like the turns where you're going to be rolling with those that gold anyway, so you may as well make a wager.
Do you think the Barov meta...
like turn 8.
Do you feel like the Barov meta is going to be to not upgrade the Tavern on turn 2, instead buy a minion and roll to be able to potentially get 2 minions the turn after, or not?
That's actually a really good point, because I think the turn 2 is the easiest one to predict who's going to win, because you can see what kind of minion they've got. Well, you can't see the minion itself, but you can tell what type it is, and you can, like, say for instance, someone has a demon and they've just won a game. They've obviously got the homunculus, and they're probably going to win the next game.
Yep. Or someone's playing against AFK.
Exactly. Against AFK, that's a free 3 gold if you want it.
Yeah, or someone who ranked and is playing someone who didn't rank, so the other person probably has more minions as well.
Exactly. So I think a lot of people could do this on 2. And then you have a pretty explosive start with 4 minions after 3 turns for Barov.
And of course, worth noting that you get up to 10 gold at the end, and buying a minion costs 3. Mm-hmm. So, purely mathematically speaking, you can always squeeze this in. Of course, you're probably not going to buy 3 minions every turn in the late game, but just another interesting thing. And of course, the 3 gold you get is exactly equal to buying 1 more minion.
We have more Barov family members here.
Jandis Barov. 0 gold, swap, lock, and shop it. Swap a friendly, non-golden minion with a random one in Bob's Tavern.
How do we feel about that one?
This is I think the heroes I was thinking it compares best to is Malagos. Malagos, you swap a current minion you have with one of the same tier. Except this one you swap with one that's already in the tavern. Right. So you kind of control the randomness. And also it could be a small minion swapping for a bigger minion. Which is a good point.
Yeah, I guess
Captain Hook Tusk is also one similar.
Yeah, I was thinking of Yogg Saron actually as kind of also a bit similar, where you get a random one from the tavern. Of course, it's not quite the same thing, but I feel like when you said about like control over the randomness is kind of the same there, right?
Yeah.
You can buy some minions and then trigger this to have more control.
Is there a reason other than cost why this is not strictly worse than Yogg? Because Yogg is +1/+1, right? So is it just the cost?
Well, I think it doesn't say a cost, but it's kind of cost 1 because you could sell that minion for 1, and you're not getting that gold back when you sell it. So you're losing a gold by swapping a minion, but you also are getting a gold back by getting a minion again. So it's, and also battle cries. Obviously, you don't want to get a battle cry minion. You want a good statted minion from this, I guess.
Yeah, I guess in terms of battle cries, you don't want to necessarily get one with this, but you could use that to get rid of one.
Yeah, that is true. But then with the Yogg, you could sell it and then push the hero power.
There might be some weird ideas with the pirates that do shenanigans, like the one that you can sell for 3 coins. If you can manage to get that with the exchange, then...
How does this compare to Yogg? Because assume Yogg, you just sell the minion you would trade off, and then roll your hero power. And if it comes out the right way, you get the same outcome, but with +1/+1.
I saw someone suggest that you could sell a battle cry, then buy the battle cry back.
Right.
So that's a really good interaction.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
that's the difference. That's the difference, right? Because the minion that you swap out stays around. That's a good point, right? So that makes a difference. That's true.
That could be really good.
Could be.
Because you could theoretically, once you have 3 or more gold, which is like, turn 1? I mean, of course, you would also have a minion, but once you have a good battlecry minion, you could literally swap that out and then rebuy it, sell the other one, and effectively for 2 gold, you can repeat one battlecry over and over and over, which might be one of the reasons why they don't allow you to use golden ones.
That might be true. That just might be true. And
yeah,
that's also
because if you're selling the golden minion, you buy it back, and then you get to play it, and you get the new minion. So that's why it's not golden. It seems a weird thing when you first see it, but it makes sense when you think about it.
That makes sense. Yeah, it could be strong, actually. Curious to see how people find a way to use that. Of course, Megasaur no longer in the game, because this seemed way too strong if Megasaur existed.
Oh, wow,
Do you think they removed Megasaur knowing that they would have this card enter the game soon anyways?
They might have. They just might have. We'll see how it keeps developing.
I mean,
this is the kind of hero that you can't play if there's you can't put in the game if there's Megasaur because it's just too powerful.
Exactly.
But I mean,
so it opened design space up.
Yeah.
There's still the the cards that are not Zubat and Menagerie Warden, the new ones that replace them.
Cups and things and stuff. Yeah, the Caravan.
Which, if you have that sort of a build going, is also really strong. If you could just cycle those through every turn.
That's true. I'm curious to see how people use it. Seems pretty strong. And we have another one.
Forest Warden Omu. Passive hero power, Everbloom. After you upgrade Bob's Tavern, gain 2 gold this turn only.
How do we like that one?
This is really difficult to accurately judge because we've not had a minion quite like this. A hero quite like this in Battlegrounds. I was thinking about like certain key turns you could play this on, and imagine tiering up on 6 gold, and you get 2 gold back. You can sell a minion and buy a minion. You can sell one of your bad minions for a better one, or say 7 golds. You've just tiered up. You've got rather than 3 mana left, you have 5 mana, and then you could buy 2 minions instead of just 1. So there's really good opportunities, I feel, to make your board strong while tiering up, and that's not even accounting for like, say, tiering to tier 5 and buying a tier 5 minion because you have extra gold. You can tier up sooner than you would usually because of the minions you can buy on the tier up turn.
So with this one, it's really going to be about finding the right turns to use it, right? To tier up, because typically it was like the trade-off, right? You either tier the tavern fast or you get minions fast, and with this one, you do it the right turns, you get to do both. That's a good point. So it's kind of helps you to minimize the gold that you end up wasting in turns where you upgrade not perfectly.
Yeah, and I think that this is kind of like just discounting the tavern upgrade by 2, except that you can't really upgrade earlier than you normally would be able to. But it effectively kind of reduces the cost. That's true. What it is. So yeah, of course. And again, some of those turns where it's a bit awkward, right? Like, I could rank now, but I have like 1 left over and I can't really do much with it.
Now you do, and then you can buy a minion too. I like it.
Exactly, yeah.
All of those heroes officially release September 22nd. Yep. People with Tavern Pass always get 14-day early access to these sorts of things, so it will be available to them September 8th when the patch releases.
Do you have the Tavern Pass, Sparrow?
Of course I do.
Obviously.
It's so...
If you want to see them early, go to his stream and check those out. I'm sure you're gonna try some of those out. For us, not gonna happen. But there we go. We have some minions that have been added to the pool as well.
Well, there's been 1.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, yeah, exactly, kind of. Mekaru has been removed from the minion pool. It says it's a bit lower, but that gives context for why this is happening. They basically replaced Mekaru with Micro Mummy,
which is a better Mekaru.
Which is now also at tier 1, and it does exactly what you think it would do if you've played Constructed before. It is a 1/2 mech with Reborn that says at the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +1 attack.
So this is just a better Mekaru, and I think that's probably
in every way.
In every way,
apart from Baron Rivendare.
Also, Lich King. What if you give?
Well, yeah, because you can't give it Reborn on top of it's already having Reborn. Yeah,
I guess.
But besides Rivendare and Lich King. Which are some very corner case interactions. This is a lot better.
It is basically strictly better. So I think that's you know that a little bit better. But is the early game mech meta a bit too weak? So is this a good change?
I don't think I have encountered many turns where I've wanted to buy Mekaru. It has to be extremely weak. Boards like 2 Wrathweavers, are they called? The demon ones. And Mekaru, but Micro Mummy is actually a card you might want to buy on turn 1. Compared to that, And
That
you don't
looks
have to play it with
pretty
mechs. It could be buffing other boards. I like to compare it to Cobalt Scalebane. It's not something that fits in with dragons as much as just one that fits in with everything, but not one you want to keep around a whole long time.
Yeah,
It's just a solid minion.
That could help you in the early game. So I think it's a good update over the Mecha Room. I agree with that.
And the nice thing, of course, is that because this is a permanent buff that happens, even if you buy it early and you don't really want it for your build that much, you can just keep it around however long you can kind of afford to.
Yeah.
And the buffs that it distributed during that time will still stick around. So
exactly.
There's some nice things about that.
What else we got?
Well, there was a significant nerf to Pack Leader. I don't really know why they did all of this, but first of all, they changed the effect from giving +3 attack to only giving +2 attack. That makes a lot of sense. And then they also randomly decided to also give the Pack Leader itself one less attack.
Okay, so I know that beasts were arguably very, very strong, and Sparrow will know this a little bit better, but I think Pack Leader was one of the cards that, if you found them, you were just in a really good spot already for the rest of the game, and you would hang on to them for a long time.
Yeah, I didn't actually notice that they changed the attack as well. That makes it significantly worse than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Really?
No, not significantly. I'd say that it's still a solid minion for the beast strategy, but you might want to get rid of it sooner in order to progress to better minions. And it's think of the interaction with Rat Pack rather than summoning 5 minions that are 4/1s. It's now summoning 4 that are 3/1s.
Oh,
which
you
is,
were saying the text change,
big.
yeah. Because I was about to say, I don't think anyone really cares that much if their Pack Leader has 2 or 3 attack.
Yeah, it's the effect.
Yeah.
The effect changes the big one.
The attack is very strange. I don't know why they changed that.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying.
I feel
but
that others were better.
To be fair, I think both of these changes might be somewhat related to, if memory serves, them recently switching Pack Leader and Rat Pack around in their star ratings.
maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might be true.
So maybe at 3 it was fine to be a 3/3/3, but at 2 it's just a bit more powerful. Also, just in builds outside of that synergy, it's just a lot more consistent.
I mean, I can see that for sure. I think it's still going to be good, though. I've seen that beasts are very strong. A lot of the screenshots you see from people winning their taverns, typically they have pack leaders, they have beasts, and big attack buffs. I think it'll still stick around. It's just an adjustment, and I think it's probably a good idea.
Now, what we probably have more to say about.
Yes.
There has been some changes to Constructed and Arena, but
Arena. We have a couple card nerfs, changes, buffs here. First of all, most of them I like, but we'll get into that. Secret Passage draws 4 instead of 5 cards now, which I like I like in the sense that this is more balanced now and more appropriate. I don't like in the sense that this costs me a lot of time testing our budget rogues, and now we have to delay the video and basically redo everything because the card is in there. But I think 4 is a bit better. For 1 mana has a very, very strong effect, and a lot of the aggro rogues make use of it, and I believe this is a good adjustment. Without killing the archetype, it makes it a bit more balanced. What do you think about it?
I think that with 5 cards, it was just too consistent, and with 4 cards, perhaps you might whiff more regularly. Like, for instance, sometimes you would play Secret Passage on turn 2 or turn 3 just to have something to play.
Yeah.
And now you might think twice about doing that.
I agree with that. I think it's a good change.
And of course, looking at the obvious comparison, right? Solarium was a legendary spell, and that only gave you 3 cards.
That only gave you 3 cards.
So, I mean, it's not quite the same thing.
And it discarded them if you didn't play it.
Yeah, but the counterpoint is that, of course, you could keep your other cards in case you didn't like what you do, so you could draw first and then decide what to play. But still, it makes sense that this was a bit strong. Though, in the notes below, there's also some changes where if you generated cards while you have the Secret Passage cards in your hand, those will previously go into your deck, and now they stay around in your hand, even if the Secret Passage cards themselves go back. So, it's not... Though the card text itself is a pure nerf, some of the interactions that were slightly changed are making it a bit better, though those are the cases that don't really affect the way people are currently actually using it.
Yeah. Next is Cabal Acolyte, the infamous 2/6 taunts for Priest. Am I right? This one also...
Well, no, you're not. It's a 2/4 now.
it's a 2/4, but typically the 2/6s. And this is appropriately a 2-4 because this minion was incredibly strong. For almost vanilla stats, you got to mind control someone almost reliably. Like, let's be honest, 99% of cases it happened. The spell burst got activated either with a wave of apathy, and people could even high roll into really big minions, or just as a big tempo play. I like this change. The effect is strong enough to justify a 2-4 stat line here. But what do you think about it?
Mm-hmm. It's still an extremely strong effect. That's the smaller stats. All that's changing is it means that you might think twice about playing it on turn 4, turn 5 to steal a smaller minion. You might want to save it for an Edwin or any sort of big minion that your opponent is playing. And it's easier for your opponent to deal with as well. It's 2/6 taunt is just a bit too much, I feel, of a tempo swing.
Absolutely, I do agree with that.
Yeah, so this basically, it doesn't really change the high rolls with wave of apathy and the like, but this makes it less consistent, which of course makes it overall a weaker card. And as you said, you're probably not going to just drop it down on 4, maybe hoping to proc it next turn, or just try to get a good tempo play out of it, because it might just not be worth it.
Exactly, because 4-mana 2/6 taunt is a vanilla minion in classic Hearthstone, and with such a strong effect, no need to have those stats.
Now, something that people have been asking
still be
for,
played.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, something that people have been asking for a while ago, and the Hearthstone team played around with it a little bit, and
Shaman buff.
Yeah, like I was gonna say general, just buffing more cards.
True. Yeah.
And there's 2 of those, but first of all, the Totem Goliath is now a 5/5 instead of a 4/5, and more importantly, it overloads 1 less.
Overloads 1 less. So I guess something they had to have been thinking about is actually turning it into a battle cry, which I think might have been too much, given that the totem support that is there. So I think keeping it a death rattle is probably the more careful alternative, but I definitely like it not having as much of a statistical downside and the overload being less, because for death rattle doing that in an aggressive deck, a 5-mana 4/5 overload 2 is just fell too slow, and Shaman, we all know, can definitely use it. But what do you think?
I would have given it taunt. I still think it's too slow. Especially like the deck you're playing in is Totem Shaman, and I don't feel that once you're at turn 5, you've already either got control of the board or you've lost it. I think that Pimp Carp is the Totem Shaman expert in our server, and I think he was saying that it's a deck you need to be consistently in control of the board, and I don't feel that without taunt this is doing its job even now. It might be put in the Totem Shaman decks, which we've obviously not seen because Shaman is still bottom tier.
Yes.
But it's definitely got actual potential of seeing play, but I still think it's still bad.
It might be
good to me.
But it definitely is enough to make me go back to the Totem Shamans we've been testing for the budget series and put it back in and give it some more tries.
Yeah, I guess the upside here really is that cards like Splitting Axe and Totemic Reflections have something big to duplicate. I think that's the Death Rattle is nice and all, but yes, having a whiteboard of totems with those white, like Totemic Surge like type cards, yes, but I think having something big to duplicate is probably the main use for this.
I agree. And we have a Warlock buff there too, with Archwitch Willow, which buff, nerf, I don't know, goes down by 1 in cost, but goes down by 2/2 in stats. And I don't know what to think about this. Is this a buff or a nerf even? Strictly, what do you think about it?
It's a buff to the card, but I also thought, looking at the cost, it's actually a nerf to Mana Giant and Conjurer Calling, which is a really powerful mage deck right now.
Sure.
And it's just another minion at 8 cost that isn't a Grommaster or a Tyrion.
Right. That's a good
so
point.
That might be a bit less consistent for those, which is good.
I wonder if they had that in mind when they made the change.
If they did, that's big brain. If they did, that's very smart. I like that, because sometimes
I think that's the stat change.
Yeah.
The stat change is why, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I like that, actually. That's cool. But is it going to cause a Willow or a big Warlock in that sense to see play now? I have my doubts.
Well, if you look at the next card change, it's possible that there might be another Warlock being experimented with.
Right.
So Willow might be part of that.
we'll go to that one.
Yeah.
So this is someone that JJ can definitely talk to.
Yeah, I would definitely, first of all, say that the biggest change of Willow, I think, is that you can tap on the same turn, but it's not very significant. Of course, it's like weird because all the big demons are in Demon Hunter, not in Warlock right now. So I found it a bit counterintuitive that that's there. But more importantly, what Alex wanted me to say is that they changed Dark Glare, and at first I was like, oh, this is cool, and then I looked more closely and I was like, actually, it's not that cool.
Because of the effect.
Yeah, so they changed it from being a 3-mana 3/4 to a 2-mana 2/3, which is neither nerf nor buff, but you can play it earlier, which I thought was nice. Then I saw they also changed the text, so it only refreshes 1 mana crystal rather than 2.
Correct. And that's a strict nerf. And that makes sense given the unfairness that Warlock can sometimes get in, mostly with the Catalyst being this card.
I used to love it when you could play Dark Glare, then you tap, which at that point the tap is free.
It's free.
And then
Flame Shrimp.
if you also then play Flame Rebel on the same turn, then all of a sudden ramps you by 1 mana, and you could make huge turns happen
You
with Dark
raise
Glare.
that, you flame him, you raise it, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's not supposed to be happening. So, there you go. What do you think about it, though?
Yeah, well, this is all the good decks have some sort of mana cheating, and this is a prime example of how a deck can be created almost entirely off of mana cheating is with the big flesh giants, and this is actually an Outland card. It was not played an awful lot before. I think Zoo Warlock still existed, but it was nowhere near as powerful as now. And Tour Guide, the one that makes your hero power cost 0, Penflinger, and Raise Dead, all 3 of those are the candidates for why this is so powerful. Instead of getting 1 mana back for dealing damage to yourself, you're getting 2 mana back. You can play more minions. This is still good at 2 mana, though, I will say.
Yeah,
I think it's
so too.
probably worth in that deck.
It puts a cap on the amount of unfairness that it can produce, which I think is definitely good. It says that 3 of the cards are going to be eligible for dust refunds, so the 2 that got buffed will not be the Willow and the Totem Goliath, obviously. Willow, you know...
I'm a bit disappointed that Willow does not get a dust refund despite having had a stat nerf.
They're weaseling their way out of having to give dust for legends. So they're trying to,
Does anyone care about Willow, though? Does anyone...
Well,
I suppose everyone has it in their collections. They're wondering if they should dust it.
Exactly, right? So now I would like to have the dust refund so I can get it out for as much as possible.
First of all, that is, of course, the reason why most people would probably want it to be refundable, but also,
that's why they're not doing it, because they have to dish out a lot of dust.
If you change a card in a way that it's not a strict buff, arguably it should be eligible.
Blizzard is the god of this universe, and that's all we can do. One thing I wanted to point out,
Yeah. Oh no, I was saying that Willow does have some potential because it gets a demon from your hand and deck, but it's cheating mana at a turn where you should be cheating mana much earlier.
Yeah.
Such as the mana giant Condor Calling.
Absolutely.
And the stats on the minion itself doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
You get yourself 2 Dark Glares with it, and then you can tap for free.
And you tap for free on the same turn.
The dream.
Yeah, and that's even decent stats for the 10 mana you spend. No, I wanted to bring something up, a card that did not get addressed that I thought there was a very clear point that should be made, and a very, very simple fix, frankly. I wanted to get your opinion on that. So, we're all aware of the Toll and Pilgrim, and it's been discussed, obviously, that something like an essentially infinite freeze mechanic is not exactly good for the game. And there was a change proposed that would change the text of the card to casting a spell from your deck rather than a copy of a spell from your deck, which would prevent infinite potions of illusions, infinite blizzards, and frost novas to be cast, which seemed like a very, very simple fix, because I don't want to think that the current Turtle Mage as it is played is intended to be possible by Blizzard when creating Potion of Illusion and Turtle and Pilgrim, because I don't think that's good. I don't think it's healthy for the game to have a mechanic like that, but they didn't address it, so what do you think of it?
It's extremely difficult because I feel that it's a very interesting deck. It's very high skill. You don't see it everywhere in ladder. It's mainly like
it's a tournament deck.
Oh, actually, it's a tournament deck exactly. And in that format, it seems to be doing extremely well. People were sleeping on it a couple of weeks ago, but now they've fully realized the power of it. and it's so difficult because I like high skill decks. I think that they should exist in the game, but it's I feel like they should address it, at least saying like we're looking into this and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, I think so. I found it a bit weird.
Yeah.
Radio silence on it completely.
By the way, speaking of things they're looking into, and this is not mentioned here, but the Battle Pass, huh?
What up with the Battle Pass?
Well, they had a survey about it, and
wait, the Tavern Pass or Battle? What
oh, you haven't heard of it, right? So the Battle Pass is supposed to change how the reward system of the quest works.
Okay.
So instead of getting gold for a quest, you get XP that levels your Battle Pass, and that then drops rewards. Initially, they designed it in a way where you would get less gold, but you would get more packs and stuff.
Okay.
But players weren't happy with it.
Yeah.
So
gold's just better.
So now they are supposedly awarding as much gold as you would have otherwise, plus some additional rewards. Of course, the main thing is that, like most games' battle passes, you can then buy a premium pass where you unlock a second track of rewards in parallel to the main one.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's something that's being worked on. I don't know what the status of that is, but I think that was supposed to be the one little extra thing that was supposed to come out during this expansion cycle. So
we'll wait for the development of that. We have a bunch of game improvements, bug fixes, small updates that are not really worth talking about. We're going to link the article that we're looking at here in the description, so if you want to read through them yourself, you can do that. But nothing game-breaking, couple of minor glitching.
Yeah, there's one thing that I want to point out, because really the only one I have encountered in the wild, and that is the... there used to be a bug where... well, I guess there currently still is until this releases, where if you change something about a spellburst minion, like, for example, you buffed it with another minion, then the spellburst symbol will disappear, which makes it a bit confusing sometimes to see if a spellburst was triggered or not. And they addressed that. And also, new decks are not created at the top of your order rather than at the bottom, but who cares?
Let's talk about the Book of Heroes.
That's a really cool concept.
That's a good one. Let's see what they have.
Well, so there is, over the next 12 months, that's a year. They are going to release 10 different campaigns for free, where you get to play through the backstory of one of the default heroes. That is all 10 heroes.
For all 10 classes.
And every time after you play this, you will get... it's 8 bosses. I assume it's going to be 8 bosses for all of them. It says only that the first one is going to have 8 bosses, which is the mage one. And at the end, you're going to get 1 mage pack for this one, and presumably for the other ones for their respective classes. That is 1 pack that contains cards for that class from standard.
Sounds good. And the image you're seeing there is a new hero portrait for mage, because mage doesn't have enough hero portraits.
We already did that part.
Exactly. So you're getting you're getting Arcane Jaina. But there you go. I like this concept of Book of Heroes a lot. I love this the fact that there's going to be so much solo content. And over the course of an entire year, I also love the lore of Warcraft itself. So like the backstories of the heroes. What do you think about it?
It's content, and what we've been missing sometimes is having content that's regular like this. Sometimes we have a sort of separate little expansion, like Galakrond's Awakening, a couple months after release, and that's like a one-time event. You get all the cards, and then it's back to normal. This is something that's going to be recurring for the entire year, and it's not a massive adventure every single time. It's just 8 bosses. And this is exactly the sort of thing they need. It's something which people will be tuning in, getting those packs. And I was just thinking that you could actually save the packs for the next expansion, so you can get the cards earlier, perhaps.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because you're not going to get cards that you've already got, unless you've got all the common and rare of that class. So you could manipulate the RNG of the packs. That's a possibility.
That's a good point. I think people should think about that, because a lot of people have all the commons and rares from current expansion, for example.
I had an idea that is kind of similar to that, and I was thinking about maybe just setting up my Tavern Brawl packs and just opening them whenever a rotation happens, so that whenever they introduce new cards for replacements for all the new Hall of Fame cards, I can just instantly get them. But then I thought, in that case, it's not as helpful, because usually there's like, like 1 or 2 per rarity,
Couple of them.
and you constantly get Tavern Brawl packs.
Yeah, exactly.
So
probably not. But that's a good idea. That's a good point. And we have Heroic Brawliseum coming back.
Speaking of card packs,
This is some high roll stuff. This is for players that really know what they're doing. Like, for example, Sparrow, or a couple other people that we have in Discord. But this is really, this is a big boy stuff. So you get to play arena-style Brawliseum, which you get to bring 1 constructed deck. I'm assuming it's a standard.
yes,
That is good. Entry fee is 1,000 gold or $10. So that's quite a lot. That's a lot of money to put in, or gold to put in. But the rewards, if you really win big, are going to be huge. So you can see the whole table of rewards right there on screen for you. And maximum is 12, which would reward you 50 packs, your gold back plus 100, and 3 golden legends, which is also a boatload of dust on top of that. But of course, you can also whiff. If you score less than 5 or 6 wins, you're just not going to get the value back.
Yeah, there's 2 things I want to mention really quickly, because one, you kind of skimmed over. This is going to be the Tavern Brawl for the 3rd week of this event.
Yeah.
It's a Tavern Brawl.
It's Tavern Brawl.
Just in case it wasn't obviously that wasn't clear.
Yes.
And second of all, we've had Brawliseums in the past, and oftentimes, at least for the regular Brawliseums, I'm not sure if they also did for the heroic ones, there will be 1 free entry.
Yes.
And
highly doubt it.
I couldn't help but notice that this article doesn't mention anything about those.
Yes. So I highly doubt that there will be free entry. What do you think?
Yeah, as with the previous Brawliseums, which, by the way, I think the last Brawliseum was 3 years ago now, which is crazy because I feel like I can remember it. But this is the reward structure is very top heavy. I do not recommend everyone spending this 1,000 gold because it's very likely that you're going to be disappointed, because a lot of people playing in this Tavern Brawl are going to be very confident players. They'll be looking to get the 10, 11, 12 wins. No meme decks here. Everything will be tier 1, tier 2 decks. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm going to be very tempted to spend my 1,000 gold I've saved up since the start of the expansion. It's going to be difficult to hold that back. But I know there'll be a lot of good content from watching the high-stakes heroic Tavern Brawl games.
Absolutely. If you decide to do that, you definitely need to stream it and link in the Discord so
I will.
we can actually watch you do it, because that's going to be a big spectacle. But yeah, everyone has to make up their own mind. If you win high, you really believe you can do it, it's definitely worth it. But I would agree with Sparrow a lot for the intermediate players. If you're not confident you're getting to double digits, probably hold back on it, because you probably end up running a loss. But is that everything for today here? Do we have more in this article?
No, that's it.
That's it, everything. So it's been quite a long one, but we have a lot of things to talk about. Let us know in the comments your opinions on stuff, the Brawliseum, all the updates, and the solo content that is coming up, as well as card changes, maybe some suggestions that you have, or if you have opinions on the Battlegrounds things. Let us know your opinions on that too. As mentioned before, once again, check out Sparrowhawk's stream. It's linked in the description, and you can meet him on Discord in our server, which is also linked in the description. Sparrow, thank you very much for being here and helping us out with some insight into Battlegrounds and Constructed.
No, it's been a pleasure being here. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Glad we will hopefully have you back at some point. It's always good to get some expert views on that stuff. But for today, we're done, and you can help us on the outro. You already know how that works. It's not the first time you've been on. So everybody, thank you for watching. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to TrashcanTV, and join our Discord server, and we're going to see you in the next one. JJ.
That's it.
Sparrow.
That's it.
That's it.